Peace be unto you, O ye little ones of the Father. I say, peace be unto you. In the name of God, whose all-seeing eye penetrates through the cosmos and brings a sense of perspective to all life, I greet you. Long ago have I traveled over the highway of life from the manger of Bethlehem to the present stature of a God-free ascended being in light. But I once wore mortal form even as ye now wear. And because I once wore mortal form, I am able to know the feelings, the sense of limitation, the pain, and the uncertainty which plagues the mind and consciousness of mankind. And I am able to have compassion for them that are out of the way, and they who have strayed from the Father's sheepfold. I am come that men might have life, that men might have life, and that more abundantly. I am come that men might enjoy the fullness of the Spirit of Christ. To be a Christus is to be a radiant manifestation of God. To be a Christus is to rise out of a chrysalis out of the human consciousness, even as a butterfly comes out of a cocoon of ignorance and of mere simple nature to rise into the radiant sun and gentle air. So is it possible for you to emerge from being merely human beings to be God-free, ascended beings of light, such as I am. I know, and I am certain, that there are those in this place, as there are those in every place, who have longed for the return and the great flowing power of God, which enabled them to escape at will the bonds of the physical appearance form, to have the power to perform miracles, and to go forth and heal the sick, to raise the dead, to restore sight to blinded eyes. I say to you, these are simple things, for the greatest gift of God is the resurrection into the eternal presence of your ascension. To manifest God in the full manifestation of the flame of his heart, according to the dictates of your own I am presence. This is the more abundant life. Miracles are good, and miracles are somewhat necessary at times. But I say to you, little ones, far greater things than these have been done throughout the ages in the invisible world. To restore the sight to a blind eye is only for a moment, for dust returns to dust. But to give spiritual sight to men, that they may perceive their link, their oneness with the infinite God, is to raise the child into a man. It is a case of becoming, when the I am in you speaks face to face with God, and the star of Bethlehem blazes within your heart, the day star from on high, who visits the earth in manifestation within you, changing your physical form even into a blazing sun of righteousness. The power of a nova, the power of the sacred fire, is a gift of God. Quite frequently astronomers have observed through the centuries the coming of a new star. They have perceived throughout space a sudden burst of light, and this light is a new star. Each one of you, as you come to a fuller manifestation of the presence of God in your life, will, like a new star, burst upon the horizon of humanity, and they will not see one historical Jesus in manifestation, but there shall be many Christs in manifestation upon the planet. And I tell you that at the present time there are at least 5 people living in physical embodiment who are manifestations of Christ, drawing very near to the proximity of the advancement which I manifested before my ascension. One extremely great soul known unto mankind is known to some of you as Dr. Albert Schweitzer. I tell you, people of Boston, that the world has made a greater spiritual progress than what they know. The world is not cognizant of all the great spiritual progress that goes on daily. As I sweep my Christ consciousness across the planet in a great cosmic sweep, like unto a beam of light which is used in the radar scopes in the great airline terminals of the world, I perceive balls of ascended master light substance, radiant points of light, across the face of this earth. These points of light are focuses down within human hearts. They are focuses of light encased in garments of flesh such as you wear. These are individuals who also came forth from a mother, a physical mother. They were held in a mother's arms even as I was held in Mary's arms. They were cherished and they were adored. They were loved. And they grew up to adore their parents, their homes, their family, their friends, and to extend love to the world. The love they felt for their mothers, the love they felt for their fathers, for their sisters, their brothers, and for those around them reached out and expanded its scope. It begun, as mine did long ago in Egypt at Luxor, to encompass the great landed areas of the world. And therefore these individuals have come to a realization not of narrowness nor finiteness, but they have come to a cosmic sense of love. They have realized that in many lands there are many peoples in whom is the Spirit of God. They have perceived all that they meet upon the streets, upon the highways and the byways of life as manifestations of God. They have recognized that these individuals that they meet shall one day be as I am, recipients of their eternal destiny, and that they shall enter into their Christ consciousness, even as I did. And therefore they do not condemn these individuals and brand them. I must tell you this night that I fellowshipped when I wore a flesh body with many unsavory individuals whose character was of ill repute among mankind. Magdalene was not the only one, for I ate with publicans, and I ate with them that were known to be sinners in the eyes of many. And one woman came unto me, and she broke a jar of precious ointment upon my body, and wiped my feet with her hair. Blessed one, they condemned her. But I said, do not condemn her, for she has anointed my body for the burial. They condemned her also, saying that the money which had been spent for the precious ointment should have been given to the poor. And I said, the poor ye have with you always, but me ye have not with you always. And yet at another place I said, lo, I am with you always. Beloved ones, when men learn to understand the Scriptures, to understand the mysteries of life, or the so-called mysteries of life, they will recognize that God is in every cell of the universe, and that this is no idle chatter. This is no idle statement. It is truth. How the eyes of both young and old are delighted by light. I perceive tonight in the state of Vermont a particular family gathered around a Christmas tree. And in the eyes of the children there, I see a wonder which moves the heart of the universe to bless this family. And yet in giving my love to this family in Vermont, I am not withholding my love from the rest of the world. When will men understand that the giving of love to any part of life does not rob the universe? When will men come to understand that there is no need for selfishness, because God is infinite abundance, and there is no limitation to God? Men have wondered why there was a creation and why an act of creation was originally commenced. They have wondered why the first photon of light expanded by the name of God I am and brought into being the infinite system and chain of universes filled with light and love. They have wondered, and yet I gave them the key. I gave them the key in the Scriptures, even in the book of Genesis, in the statement recorded in the Pentateuch. It is not good for man to be alone. Beloved ones, the universe is the complement of God. The physical universe, all universes are the complement of God. The creation of God was made to be loved by God. And the creation was made to return love back to God. And as there is a flow of energy out from God received, and there is a return current, there is a beautiful flowing stream like the River Jordan. But if there is an inflowing of the life and energy of God, and a damming up of that energy as in the Dead Sea, then there is stagnation. Stagnation in selfish consciousnesses. And these individuals are but their own judges. As they withhold from one another their love, as they say, this individual has wronged me, and I will not speak to them because they have wronged me, they judge but themselves. And I tell you truly that when the spirit of Christmas is brought into tangible manifestation because love is given, then nothing, not atom bombs, not any inventiveness of the human mind or machinations of any consciousness can prevent love from returning the gift to the giver. When I walked the hillsides of Galilee and I spoke unto the people there, I spoke once of disaster. And I said, think ye that these upon whom the tower of Siloam fell were sinners above all others that dwell at Jerusalem? Nay, but except ye repent, ye shall likewise perish. Beloved ones, I did not refer to the fact that those life streams, if they did not turn from their ways, would have the tower of Siloam fall upon them. I referred to the fact that if they did not turn to an understanding of the goodness of God and give of themselves to one another, to the universe, to life, so that life could in return give them the currents, that they would terminate the flow of that energy in their life, and they would return again and again to the screen of time and life and circumstances to play their parts in a role more painful, perhaps, than merely the passing of the physical form. God, in His great love, does not desire any of the pain which manifests in the human, tortured experience world. And I am, together with Moria, with Saint Germain, with Mother Mary, with Kuan Yin, with others of the ascended host, anxious beyond any human concept to give this world its freedom. The Brotherhood would on the instant raise this earth into all light, if permitted by cosmic law. But it is a fact irrefutable that mankind must call forth the victory of God if they are to receive the victory of God, because they have free will and they must outpicture according to the dictates of their own being. And in this case it is the finite being that has taken command in many cases, and it is the spiritual being which ought to be in command. Dominus in the Latin language means Lord. And ye call me Lord, and so I am. But I say unto you, as Moses said unto the children of Israel, ye are God's people of Boston. And I say to the whole world, ye are God's if ye but knew it. And if you will refrain from holding limited concepts of yourselves, and will recognize that ye are beings of white fire, beings able to command nature, to command the mountains, to command adversity and turn it from you, you will take command, you will take dominion, you will take the rod of power in your hand, and you will free yourselves from limitation and confusion, and you will become a part of our ascended band of light, to strengthen the forces of light upon this planet, to give of your heart in the ideals of the Bodhisattva, the ideals of those who, when they are free from physical form and have entered into the glory of their ascension, are yet able to turn backward toward the mankind of earth and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will hold my consciousness anchored in the atmosphere of this planet. I will pour out my radiance upon this planet. I will strengthen the bonds of light, the bonds of healing, the rays that are supreme from the heart of God upon this earth, until every child of earth has worn a garment of light and is clothed with a mantle of God perfection. You can do this, I say to you, even as I did, if ye will. I know that there is a voice that whispers in the ears of many and says, if ye can do this, why have ye not done so? Blessed ones, remember the serpent in the garden, speaking unto Eve, ye shall not surely die. I tell you, beloved people, limitation is a momentum. It is generated by creating a rut over and over and over again. And the only way you are ever going to find your freedom is to dig and dig and dig until you have worn a rut of light into that human thought consciousness which you use, and have caused the subconscious trends to change and to no longer outpicture the physical human instincts, the human consciousness, the limited ideas of man. But in its place, you have created a grand canyon where the river of God may flow through. And as you follow that stream to the source, you will find the Garden of Eden, the paradise of God in the victory of your own I am presence. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel into this place of light this night. I have sent forth my light as a star here. I have blazed a meaning of Christmas into your hearts. And I want each and every one of you to know that as you walk the streets and behold the light sparkling upon the snow, and see the twinkling electricity in the lights of your world, and as you behold the stars in the sky, I am also beholding all that ye see, and more. For I perceive beyond all suns, beyond all light, the greater light shining. And I know that the joy you feel as you give your love to one another is a small love and a small joy compared to what God has in store for you when you are free from the limited peepholes of consciousness which mankind use. You are like individuals, you are like small boys who have bored a hole in a fence to observe a ball game, and you place your eye against the hole and you see a little of the game of God's life. I say to you, when you shall pay the admission price and get a ticket so that you can enter upon the great bleachers where you can behold this magnificent game in the stadium of your own Father in heaven, you will behold that the pain and the sickness of life is all a delusion. In the city of Boston long ago, a woman whose heart was often alone and wretched at one time of her life came and established here a church of great repute. I refer to the blessed Christian Scientists, who have actually created a great and magnificent change in the human thought concepts of this nation and the world. Beloved ones, all of this is contributory, but it is not the end. All religions, all the activities of light throughout the earth which have been dedicated to my name have all assisted the great cause. But the end lies not in a name or an assembly. It lies in your God presence. In your God presence is the fullness of all that you desire, as Saint Germain has already told you. And if you will be invested with the greatest of cosmic gifts, the gifts of the cosmic Christ which has already been given, then I say, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Beloved ones, as a father takes his son by the hand and leads his child through boyhood, through marble games, through the schoolyards, through the disputes of life, through little pains and longings, so I am telling you, your presence will lead you from any state of consciousness which you may be in, and will illumine you with all the wisdom that the world has, and more, will give you all the peace that the world could give. Did I not declare long ago that there is no one who has left father or mother, or husband or wife or children, or lands, who shall not receive more, blessed ones, and in the world to come, everlasting life? I tell you, beloved ones, the gift of God is not for this moment alone. It is for always. And just as your hearts are annually renewed by the Christmas spirit, and the pageantry of Christmas sparks within you a realization of great light, so the memory of God will not stir in your hearts for just a moment, but the memory of God will forever renew you, re-energize you, flood you with health and wealth and strength and light and courage, until, as I am, you will adore through knowing the fullness of God's light. You will adore the great light because you become one with that light. I bless this earth this night, and I tell you that this Christmas Eve I am calling to the heart of God. O thou beloved Alpha and Omega, thou beloved Helios and Vesta, in the great Son of this system of worlds, I invoke in the name of God, I am, even I, Jesus, by the Spirit and power of the great white brotherhood, a tremendous threefold increase of light upon this planet, whereby the magnification of the Christ Spirit shall be increased this year 3 times in actual intensity what it ever has been before, and all men shall sense the peace of Christ on that eve. I call this forth from the heart of God as a contribution to life because of the spiritual energies of the many chelas of light who have called for an intensification of the great light. And I lay it at the feet of humanity as an infinite blessing of spiritual magnitude, which shall give you a peace you could not buy for any price. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. I give unto you, not as the world giveth unto you, but I give to you from the heart of God. Thank you, and good night. Peace be unto you in the name of the ascended Jesus Christ. Beloved ones of God's own heart, our love floods out towards you this night, a ray of purity flowing from the very throne of God, and bringing to you the realization and the understanding of the meaning of life. During the 33 years of the ministry of beloved Jesus, it was my privilege to accompany that emissary of divine love through some of the most precious days of his life and his teaching. And through this proximity, this nearness to blessed Jesus, God endowed me and saturated me, for which I am ever thankful, with the understanding of the purpose of Jesus as an ambassador of God's love. In the present day, blessed ones, throughout the world, individuals are often confused. They are confused by many things, and in a way it is a regretful fact that they are at times confused by the very Scriptures and writings concerning this beloved Jesus. They are often confused concerning the teachings of the prophets, and they are confused at times concerning the revelations which I wrote. Blessed ones, tonight I bring you in spirit the revelation of Jesus the Christ. I speak to you of the revealment of the great love of God for you who are a spirit spark, a portion of his divinity, as surely as was blessed Jesus. If there was any one thing which Jesus declared to us privately, it was the fact that we were as much a part of the Father as was he. The tangible love of God flowed through Jesus, and it was not the veil of flesh that we perceived, but it was God incarnate. Those who sometimes are a trifle confused by the great devotion which I felt for beloved Jesus do not understand that this was the tangible love of God. They do not always understand that it was the manifestation of the divine ray pouring through his flesh, in so much so that it often appeared translucent. And it was as though the sun itself in splendor came through the cells of his flesh. And when he reached out his hands and spoke to the multitudes and said, "Son, thy sins be forgiven thee," or he said, "Be thou made whole," it was the arm of God, the arm of God which reached out and extended itself. And it was an immediate galvanization of the physical form of the one to whom he spoke. And reality blossomed forth, and life flowed. The stoppages were ended, and the purity and wholeness of God came into tangible manifestation. Blessed one, divine love is thus, and this I would reveal to you tonight, even as it was revealed to me every step of the way, as I leaned upon his shoulders and upon his heart, as I felt the strands of his hair resting against my own neck. It was as though I was upon the heart of God. This purity, this love is unspeakable. Do you think it is possible to put it into words? The revelation of Jesus the Christ. Do you think there are any words? I tell you no. The only word that describes the manifestation of Jesus Christ is the two words which are one: I am. In the heart of being, in the heart of love, in the fullness of this realization is God. Can men analyze a rose? Can they break it apart and preserve its structure? As they tear apart the cells, the tendrils, the energy, the life, the substance of a flower, it ceases to be in their analysis. As men seek to tear apart the life of the great avatars, through mere words, they are unable to understand the power of love. Do you think tonight there would be a number of divergent activities if men understood the meaning of love? There were 12 of us, and we 12 were one. Some do not understand the feeling of Iscariot. Some do not understand the deep repentance that seized his heart. after that deed was performed. There was a day when we were one, and that day has been repeated. There was a day when ye were one with God. There was a day when all your radiant spirit selves, your blessed spirit sparks, stood before the eternal flame, undivided, and one with your beautiful white fire bodies. In radiant perfection and manifestation you came before the face of God, the throne of God, the love of God. And there you knew nothing but His peace. When the land of Judea was visited in that day by the Avatara, in manifestation Jesus the Christ, it was the Father in manifestation. And all of us who have ascended have so become. We are the Father once again in manifestation. In man, hypostation, ye too are of the love of God. A multitude of words, a multitude of ideas takes you gentle hearts and sometimes confuses you. As we sat at the communion table at the Last Supper, I shall never forget in all eternity, as Jesus took in hand the bread and brake it and said, "Take, eat, this my body, which is broken for you." For His body had not yet been broken, so they thought. They knew not that it was the Father that spoke through Him, that it was the communion of the Holy Spirit. "Take, eat, this is my body, the body of love, the body of God." You are crumbs, individual, broken from the one loaf of the Spirit, but always a part of His wholeness. You are leavened with the leaven of the Spirit, of truth, of love. No one can confuse you in the basic simplicity of that. The greatest saints that have come into manifestation down through the ages since the Christian church was first established, all of these have been simple men. They have uttered the sound of love in the manifestation of their life. Would you today be true followers of the great white brotherhood? This is not a way of worldly fame even to the present day. It is a way of spiritual unfoldment, the unfoldment of the faculty of love, a revealment of Jesus the Christ as a tangible manifestation of God within you. When this manifestation of God, blessed hearts, comes into manifestation in you, you are ascended. The instant the perfection of that is made manifest, you are no longer wearing mortal form. For who can stand against the great light of God? Blessed ones, the fullness of that love shall manifest in you. Externalize that love daily, morsel by morsel, bit by bit, as we did. We knew that we were far from being Christ at that moment. There was contention at times among the 12. We did not always see eye to eye, but we saw heart to heart. We loved one another even in perfection, in our imperfection. And blessed ones, I tell you this, wherever you go, when you shall love one another. That shall be the answer to all your problems. And love is God. Little children, I spoke long ago in the Scriptures to the early Christians and called them little children. And yet, all of them and all of you are sons of God. The revelation of Jesus the Christ, the revelation is within you. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and suddenly I heard behind me a voice as of a trumpet, saying, Write, and these things shall be fulfilled. It shall come to pass that a mantle of Christ, light and intelligence shall come forth from God, and shall blaze over the earth, and shall surround the great globe of the earth with a sphere of absolute purity. It shall come to pass that this mantle shall make a crystal blazing star of this planet, and it shall come to pass that the rays of this great mantle of Christ consciousness, which comes from all sacred hearts, shall blaze down through the physical appearance forms of the mankind of earth, shall heal their illnesses of physical form, shall heal their mental illnesses, shall remove their feelings of inferiority or superiority, shall render comfort to the afflicted, correction to those who are out of the way, instruction to all, and God purity in divine love. And the great white brotherhood, by its manifest love and its great Christ intelligence, shall be able to direct men in the manner by which they may come to a united nation in verity, to united hearts in verity, and to a feeling of unity with the entire cosmos. Oh, blessed ones, the revelation of Jesus Christ is the revelation of love, and the revelation of each one of you is the revelation of love. As I am speaking to you this night, I perceive a sudden blossoming, a sudden flowering, great beauty. It is as though a giant star were born, even over this sanctuary, in honor of the Christ consciousness focused in your hearts, little ones of God's heart. And the beautiful little cherubs are making a great stream of light, and they are blazing and blazing and blazing from all over the world. They have visited Lanto's retreat, and they travel across the nation, and they come here to bring you the spirit of Christmas. At 12 this evening, they shall return to the sun for repolarization. But meanwhile, they add their radiance to my own, and if you listen with your heart, you may hear their choiring, their happiness, their joy. And I ask you, beloved ones, to envision with me the radiance of these cherubims bringing comfort to those who have recently suffered affliction over this city. May the love rays from their heart go out to those who are the bereaved and to those taken from the body. And may this love help every one of you to feel at home here in your physical forms and to feel comfortable. And may it help you to feel comfortable when you pass into our realm of light. And may you know that just as an electric current flows through a wire and lights the bulb, so when the bulb is taken from the socket, the current still flows through the wire and is not lost. And your life, blessed little children of God, is not lost. Your life, like my own and like blessed Jesus, is a revealment of God. You came forth from God aeons ago, and you shall endure forever. It is but a matter of time and absorption. The time for you to absorb the tangibility of God, to gather around the Spirit sparks enough accumulation to cut you free from the discord of hate and malice and weakness and human qualities. And then I tell you, beloved ones, you shall have freedom from fear. You shall have freedom from the binding conditions which cause limitation to your worlds today. And all of the things for which many of you have called for 10, 15, 20, 25 and more years shall come into tangible manifestation, not for a moment, but for all eternity. O ye people of New York, how the ascended host love you. And how we love all the earth. Hold this love, and you shall never again err. You only err when you stray from love. For love is the true philosophy of the Spirit. It is the true wisdom, and no one can find a flaw in love. For love is God. Love is truth. Ye are that love. I am that love. Declare then in God's name, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am come unto the Father by the Christ light within my being. May you be blessed this Christmas season with a spirit of compassion, with progress, with unfoldment. May you find it easy to lay your head upon the shoulder of beloved Jesus, who is as tangible today as he was when he stood upon the mountain just prior to his ascension. And in his great and magnificent Christ light, he comes. The Spirit of the ascended Jesus Christ comes with me tonight, and he floods this place with his light, with his life, with his love. And I am so grateful as he comes, for I still love to lay my head upon that one. May you absorb him. May you adore him. May you be comforted by him. And may you learn the way in which he walked. No matter, little ones, how much you have studied, how much you have put forth the effort, it may not have been enough to the present, but it can be enough in the future. And you can have the tangible perfection of the Christ, for he is here tonight. And you are brothers with him under the fatherhood of Almighty God. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I thank you. Good night.
L'aurora di bianco vestita, già l'uscio dischiude al gran sole, di già con le rose sue dita, carezza dei fiori lo stuole, commosso da un fremito arcano, intorno al creato già par, e tu non ti desti ed in vano, visto qui dolente a cantar. Metti anche tu la veste bianca e schiudi l'uscio al tuo canatore.
Magnificent ones, children of the Most High God, I come to you today to bring to you an immediate awareness of the meaning of love in its fullness. You who are imbued with a desire for sacred knowledge are well aware of the admonishment of my predecessor and Chauhan of the sixth ray, beloved Jesus, which stated, "Greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friend." You are friends of light. You are friends of light when you prefer light to shadow. You are friends of light when you prefer the light in one another and the love in one another to the shadow that could appear there if you would permit the mortal thought to take its dominion in your world and intrude there the coloring, the false idea that is not perfection. Blessed and beloved ones, is love not perfect? Is love not the absolute perfection of God? Can love in any way be the opposite quality, a hate or a hate creation? I think not. Blessed ladies and gentlemen, and little children, all of you must realize that love produces peace and happiness, because when you manifest love for one another and a feeling of kindness and understanding, it promotes peace everywhere. It then becomes easy to overlook the shadowed imperfections in another's world and ideas that another individual may seek an enroachment upon your affairs, or little ones the idea that another little one would cause you pain, is not true. For you then realize that a wrong idea is in their mind, and you realize that they are expressing this wrong idea, which did not come from the God within them, which did not come out of the realm of pure love or goodness, but arose in many cases through unhappiness, and that which produces unhappiness in the world of mankind. Now, to those of you who are more mature in mind and years, I would speak to you concerning the spiritual garments which you wear. The spiritual garments which you wear, beloved ones, are woven in truth of the energies of your own life. Have you ever stopped to realize this? So many individuals have thought that the robes of righteousness which they would one day wear would be woven for them by another, and perhaps placed lovingly around their form by the Heavenly Father. This is true, for your own mighty I Am presence does place around your form the garment of light, the swaddling garment of light. But it is you, blessed ones, who must weave that self-same garment by the right use of your energy. And the most important qualification which you can ever give to any energy is to impose upon it. And notice, ladies and gentlemen, and little children also, that I say impose upon it. For if you do not impose upon it by consciously taking the authority over your energy, then that energy may run rampant. And you may find that, like a runaway horse, or a runaway automobile, or any other type of machine, it will rush forward headlong over the cliff or precipice and down into a pit of unhappiness, solely because your attention was not upon the governing of that energy. The governing of energy, then, and the qualifying of that energy by the power of love brings to mankind happiness. It brings to the earth happiness. Blessed ones, what melodies are most desired by the children of this world today? Is it not the romantic ballad, the love song, and those particular songs which speak of love? Mankind never tire of pondering this in fancy and in an idealism and in a romantic way. But blessed and beloved ones, when it comes to actually functioning in their relationship with one another, so often this goes by the board, so to speak, and mankind begin to speculate as to whether or not this person cares for them or likes them. The sinister force, then, riding in upon this thought, points out in its serpent-like way that this individual or that individual is perhaps planning something against them, and therefore individuals begin to feel on edge. Now, if they would surround themselves with an aura of love and the qualification of love's power, it could not or would not matter what the other person might be thinking, for love is the absolute protection. It in itself is a ring past not. Love transfigures the human motive, and if the human motive be transfigured so that it itself is wholly godly, wholly loving, wholly pure and kind, how then can there be an outreach into your world to disturb you? Blessed and beloved ones, this is impossible. Long ago, while I was yet embodied upon this planet, I learned to govern my energy, and I learned firsthand the importance of a feeling of love for every part of life. Many of you in this room are perhaps familiar with a certain life stream known as Will Rogers. You recall the statement which this great soul made, that he never met anyone that he did not like. Mankind and the hearts of the American people were stirred by this statement because it reflected a great idealism, a great surge of love within the heart. I speak today of this as an example because it is a good one. Remember that that man, the same as yourself, your blessed self, was a divine being. And it may be interesting to many of you to know that at the present moment, that life stream is awaiting re-embodiment and is in a special temple, mind you, a special temple of mercy in China, preparing for embodiment once again, when he will assist Saint Germain during the Golden Age in bringing to mankind a greater realization of love. He will make his ascension during that embodiment and will become an ascended being if he follows the pattern which has been outlined for him. At present, he is a very highly evolved being because within him, within his heart, was a great measured response to the vibratory action of love. The power of love is reflected historically in the lives of many great men and women, individuals who by their selfless devotion and dedication gave themselves to humanity, but first gave themselves to their own God presence, that they might better serve humanity. You today, blessed ones, have a mission, a dedication, a purpose in being. There are none of you in this room, great or small as you may esteem yourselves, who do not have a responsibility to your own presence, a responsibility to the ascended masters. Although you may not be aware of the great power which is vested in us by the great God Self of all life, yet I am speaking to you today and calling magnetically to your hearts to awaken therein the love aspect of your being. For it is this love aspect during the Golden Age which shall cause mankind to shake off feelings of lethargy and feelings of irresponsibility, and in its place to take upon themselves the cosmic mantle of light and love and the will to serve the ascended masters, which shall overcome the world and shall usher in the fullness of that Golden Age of Saint Germain, which is at the very door. Blessed one, you who have long served the light, without perhaps even a thought of reward or self, know that the time is very near at hand when you shall find the fullness of that reward for which you have long sought. I speak in an inner response to the secret heart within your being, that part of you which has a yearning within it to merge itself with its great God presence. Be patient, blessed ones, and know that the I am within you is God, and that no one can deprive you of your ascension, that no one has any power whatsoever to alter your life plan unless you are moved by that action, by that conduct, by that vibration which is directed against you. And if you will stand, and having done all, will stand in full faith, with a vibratory action of love even to an offender of your dignity, I am certain that you will find that it has its own reward. Oh, countless times the human individual feels the desire to be angry, to say sharp, cruel, and cutting remarks to one another. And there are times when they do. Then there are other times when by the energy of God they determine to govern their energy and to withhold these cutting remarks and not permit the vibratory action of discord to flow through their words. And how much better they feel when this is the case. for then they know that they have responded to the vibration of God's will, of obedience. Obedience, blessed ones, is far greater than sacrifice. It is wonderful when life streams, realizing they have done wrong, seek to rectify the wrong which they have done by an act of loving service. But how much better if before the wrong was created they had stopped short of performing this wrong act, and in its place had sent forth the vibratory action of love. Have you ever realized how that love is very delightful? Blessed ones, upon the human consciousness, which often is like a bowl of jello, very solidified and yet somewhat flexible, love is like a marvelous whipped cream. It is the final flavor, the savor, which gives to it peace and a vibratory action that is delightful. If you will only stop and think for a moment what love means, you will never again send forth the vibratory action of hate or discord or criticism against anyone or against this beloved messenger to whom I am speaking. Some of you one day may come to realize what it means to render a service such as this. You may realize the difficulty in bridging the gap between our octave of light and this earth, passing through countless vibratory actions, some of which are like molasses or syrup, brown, sticky, and shadowed substance. And yet the mighty light rays from our octave do pass through, and we bring you our love, our instruction, and our courage, and our light. Be comforted then in that, and know that several in this room are destined to make their ascension within the next 12 years if they will only hold fast to the high calling which has been given to them. These individuals will then come to our octave and serve mankind even as I now do. Take heart then, blessed and beloved one, and know that I am God. Be at peace among yourselves and with all mankind. Overcome all appearance of evil with the vibratory action of God good. And then expand your light and expand your love and expand the perfection of your world. Weave the garments of love. Do not waste your energy in letting thoughtless and idle words flow forth from your lips, which in no way profit your soul. Remember, one day you must recall each one, and just as you must take out the hem of a garment that must be extended, and each thread must be cut and pulled out laboriously, so all of this idleness, which is not profitable to your own God self, must be taken from you and transmuted and changed into light. Why then, blessed ones, expand your energy into a field that is not profitable to your soul? Why waste your energy in confusion when you have a clear pathway before you? It is a shining pathway into light. It is the pathway that leads to your own mighty I Am presence. And your mighty I Am presence is the vibratory action of love. For you have heard it said of old that God is love, and love is God. Be comforted therefore in this day. These may be perilous times, but the eternal light of God will not fail you in this time, even as it has not failed the prophets in days of old. Neither did it fail the beloved Godfrey, nor David Lloyd, or Pearl, or Rex, or Bob, or Nada, or Mrs. Rayborn, or any of those others who have recently made their ascension. And it shall not fail you. It is entirely up to you. Do you intend to fail your God presence by not accepting its vibratory action? If you do, blessed ones, it will not be a failure on the part of your presence. It will be a failure on the part of your acceptance. Therefore, learn to accept by opening the door to the vibratory action of love that weaves a garment of light. Which garment is your passport to your own ascension? I, Nada, have spoken to you this day for your encouragement to propel you forward toward your ascension, to bring you a vibratory action of healing. And as I close, I am making a call now to the devas of healing. Mighty devas of healing, from the temple of Hilarion in Crete, I call to you now and summon you in the name of divine love. I call to you to come, 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 and flood your radiance into this place as a center, and then out from this place to every hospital, every place upon earth where there is suffering or pain or the need of healing. Let there be a release to countless millions this hour by the power of this outgoing radiance, and let the healing hand of the cosmic Christ rest upon every fevered brow upon this planet, and let wholeness and purity and vitality and peace flow and flow and flow and flow out into the world, that men may know that the power to heal, the power to cast out demons, the power to radiate love lives today within the mighty I Am presence, and is the fullness of that light, the fullness of that love, the purity of that being, and the comfort eternal which springs forth as hope eternal within every human heart. I thank you. light. Thou first beams from the sun, the dawn of morning. Hail, thou light, which crowns the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas, of the Andes, of the Rocky Mountains, of the great heights of the world. Hail, thou light that sparkles unseen upon the ocean waves. Hail, thou light, sparkling in the gems deep in the heart of the earth. Precious art thou, light, which gives substance and glow to the jewels and stones worn by mankind for personal adornment. Hail, thou light, which giveth to mankind the power of vision, enabling them to see a clear pathway. Hail, thou light, beaming within the eye of a child in eager expectancy of what a day may bring forth. Hail, light everywhere, bringer of joy and illumination to the mind and consciousness of mankind. Hail, light of hope in the eyes of those whose forms seem more aged. Hail, expectancy of bountiful goodness from the hand of God. Hail, light everywhere, through thy power, the power of the Christos, has beauty become manifest everywhere upon this planet and throughout the universe. Hail, light of the cosmos, thou electric spark that leaps from planet to planet, from star to star, from galaxy to galaxy and universe to universe. Hail, thou light, whose ribbons and streamers connect all the fires of eternity together in one great sphere of peace and harmony. Hail, light from the cave of symbols. Hail, thou light everywhere. Thou power of vision, which gives to man the power to see the glory of God. Shadow is not the producer of happiness. Shadow cannot produce joy. It is the light that makes it possible to weave the patterns which bring and produce and sustain peace, harmony, and love everywhere. The light comes from God. This is the great mediator by which the cosmos and all visible things were created. The warp and woof, the interweaving under the control and the direction of God. Love the light, blessed ones. Love the light, which does not stop to question what portion of the universe it shall illumine. It does not question whether you are followers of Buddhism, of Islam, Christianity, or of what faith, or what the physical appearance of your form, the form you now wear, may be. Light shines upon all. You have heard it said of old that the sun shineth upon the just and the unjust alike. What then is the unjust, or what is the just? Is it not just that mankind shall recognize God and goodness? Was it not declared, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and that when he had finished the creation that he saw that it was good? This then is justice, to recognize the goodness which the great Spirit of light and love and life has created. To recognize other qualities is to make yourselves unjust, because God alone is just, and all who enter into an inner communion with Him, all who can reach out their hand to the Father, even as Peter reached it out to the Christ upon the waves as he was sinking down in the Sea of Galilee. So if you will reach out your hand to God and then accept it, you will be able to walk without fear through all of the lands of this earth and through all of the spheres of this universe. The day will come when you, mankind, who hear my voice, the voice of the great divine director, the Manu of the seventh root race, will be able to move among the planetary spheres and the great galaxies of heaven with the same ease you presently travel from coast to coast in this great land of America. The powers of heaven have been shaken, and the powers of heaven have declared that all of the miserable miasma of life, the illusion which mankind have created by accepting injustice in place of divine justice, shall be dissipated as the sun, the rising sun at dawn, disperses the dew. And it shall be no more, and the shadow shall cease to have its effect upon mankind. For mankind shall no longer turn their backs upon the sun, casting then a shadow before them on their path, but they shall face the light, and facing the light walk into greater and greater light. Blessed ones, consider the bodies you now wear. Traced upon them by the finger of your attention is every jot and tittle of human creation, molding you and shaping you in accordance with the very form you now have. Blessed ones, there is not a line upon your countenance, there is not a hair of your head that does not have the appearance it has, except it be because of the qualifications you have given life. God, in the beginning, intended mankind to have eternal life and to manifest it, and never, never to pass from the screen of life. Blessed ones, through the misuse of the attention, through the acceptance of imperfection, mankind created the pain called sin and the effects of causes called death. You have heard it said by beloved John, called by mankind in Christianity the Revelator, that God shall wipe away all tears from the eyes of mankind, and that there shall be neither sorrow nor crying nor weeping, but there shall be peace, and there shall be perfection. This is so. If the inner eyes of your spirit this morning were to be opened, and you were able to see into our sphere from whence I am speaking, you would behold young men and women with perfect bodies, beautiful eyes, beautiful hair, beautiful skin, radiant, electronic, and lovely. There is no artist, Leonardo da Vinci, or any of the other great artists of this world, Michelangelo, none of them, have been able, even in their great heights of artistic development, to produce the beauty of our electronic sphere. There, in all the dimensions, we manifest
the beauty that God intends you to manifest. Now I think, ladies and gentlemen, if God intends us to manifest it, and we do, and He intends you to manifest it, and you do not presently do so, then you will have to acknowledge your attention has been in the wrong place somewhere from the time you were created. And if it is that simple, then I think your attention should be changed. And you should fix your attention then back upon your source, so that you might not deprive yourself of your eternal inheritance. In our realm, it is not a matter of preachment. It is a scientific matter, divinely scientific, and critically so. For unless mankind shall attune with their own God presence the divine image that God intended them to manifest, they cannot possibly manifest perfection. As long as they look at the illusions that are created by society, the illusions that are created which permeate the present world system and order of things, they cannot possibly manifest God perfection. However, I wish to bring about a better understanding in the consciousness of those of you who are here today. And I want to tell you that when the day comes that mankind in their social structure, their economic structure, the world order of things will produce the perfection God intended and live in the beauty that God intended them to live, then when the incoming children are produced, they will not pick up by contagion the forces of shadow and pain. They will come forth in their natural estate, and their natural astuteness, which they manifest from 1 to 7 years of age, will carry on into the next age period, from 7 to 14, and on from 14 to 21. And by the power of the 3 times 3, at the age of 21, you will see a beautiful child, boy or girl, manifesting ascended master concepts. Disease, as you know it today, will be unheard of. Discomfort, and all of these things will be unnecessary. Physicians will not be needed, because there will be no illness. You see, beloved ones, through infection and contagion, mankind infect one another with avarice, with greed, with false concepts. And through accepting these concepts, they continually walk down the path that leads to thorns and unhappiness on the pathway of life. But when mankind accept the hand of God, and the social world is changed as it was in the golden ages, there is a different pattern appearing in the outer world of form, and therefore the outer corresponding even to the inner in part, is not a source of infection but of inspiration. And so it was intended to be. Through the power of beautiful music, mankind feel buoyed up and inspired, and they travel on wings of happiness into higher spheres. Through the power of beautiful paintings, men are able to hold in thought higher and more illumined concepts. But the opposite of these qualities, the beat of the present jazz music, and the opposite of those qualities in art, the creation of moving pictures of horror and despair, cannot help but brand the minds of youth and even of the more mature individuals among mankind with the type of delusion that produces crime, insanity, and unhappiness. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not about to ask you to become Terry Nations. I am not about to ask you to take a hatchet in your hand and smash the bars and the evil assemblies of your world. I am about to ask you only to turn your faces personally toward the light of your own being and find the happiness God intended you to find. And as you manifest it individually, and the force of life, the power of life, expands throughout the world, it will produce a change in the world that will bring in the golden age. Remember, down through the pathway of the years, Abraham. He marked an entire race. And those who embrace Judaism to the present day revere him as Father. Now, beloved ones, the Christ is only one man also. And Jesus to the present day is revered by all Christendom. And there are many others. There is not time enough to list them all, because I have much more to say. But these have made their mark, and they were one. One with God is a majority. And when you as individuals realize the power you have to affect countless lives, and will actually begin to externalize the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the eternal consciousness which the Father intended, you will be amazed at how rapidly the light can expand. Men have loved shadow rather than light because they have not always understood the light. And they have understood the material vibrations with greater ease. Also, the children of the light often have not been as wise as the children of shadow. They have attempted to enforce their demands upon mankind. They have criticized, they have condemned. And by their criticism and condemnation and judgment, they have produced unhappiness, and individuals have cringed and rebelled from following the pathway of light. There is nothing perhaps greater than a good example. And if you therefore will set a good example by accepting in consciousness that you can walk as ascended masters do and still wear physical forms, I think your happiness will be boundless. It will reach out. You know, blessed ones, I am called the Guru of blessed Jesus, of your blessed Saint Germain, and also of beloved Moria. Some time ago, beloved Moria gave permission to many people to call him Father because of the great affection that individuals have for him. In that vein of thought, you would consider me your grandfather. Blessed ones, I know what it means to be a parent, to have a spiritual love. Many of you in this audience, in the present embodiment, and in the past, have been parents many times. You know of the great hope. You know of the great joy that you have and feel in your heart as you hold in your hand your offspring. These come from the sacred flame within your heart. There is a union between the great flame in ladies and the great flame in the gentleman's heart. And there is a merging of this flame, of the sacred fire breath of God. And divinity brings forth an offspring. On all the other planets, there is a different means of producing the offspring. There is no period of pain or gestation, such as is now the vogue on earth, and someday that shall change here. But in the meantime, I am not concerned so much with that as I am with your feelings toward your youth. The feelings, the sacredness of motherhood and of parenthood. Somehow or other, this child, this young child, represents all your hopes and your fears, your frustrations, your own personal pain that you have known you wish to avoid for the young. And you would stand as a shield, mothers and fathers of the world, between the youth, the offspring of your heart, and the coldness and materialism of the world, and the hurt and the pain that can be produced through wrong action. Now then, if this is a feeling of mankind, is there not a greater love from our sphere? Is there not a greater love in the realm of divine parenthood? Is the love of God, because of the infinite power of God, not all-embracing, all-loving, all-wise, all-powerful, and able to produce perfection? You see, blessed ones, ascended masters, such as we are those who have walked in the pathway the Father intended. The pathway has not been easy while we walked among mankind. There have been thorns upon the path, and the Master Jesus wore a crown of thorns, as you know. And many of the great ones, your Saint Germain, suffered very much in past embodiments before his ascension. Now, blessed ones, it is not the intention of God that men and women should suffer. But through suffering and pain in this sphere, they have learned when the stove is hot that they ought not to touch it, because they have burned themselves. And having burned themselves, they withdraw. The unfortunate thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that some individuals, having burned themselves, continue to do so. And these develop a momentum. This is the power of a habit. Ladies and gentlemen, habit is very much as if you were jewelers and artisans, and as if you took in your hand a circlet of metal, and every time you do a thing, you form a great ring of metal. And this is a circle of one. The second time you repeat the act, you have another circle which you have formed, and this is a circle of two. And every time that you do this act over, you form this great ring of substance, and this is a circle of three, and so on ad infinitum. And eventually, this becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. And just as the halos upon the saints in the pictures of the great painters, eventually these halos sort of slip down upon your shoulders, and they are not halos at all, but they are burdens which you bear. The power of habit, the building of momentums, which create weights which you stagger under, must be avoided. There is no other way of avoiding them except to consciously walk toward the light. No admonishment, no instruction from any mankind upon this planet today, whether he be a minister, a teacher, a parent, or a friend, can be effective unless you yourselves shall consciously determine that the power of a habit unwanted shall be broken. Now, those of you who are familiar with the law of the violet fire are able to melt these discordant rings. You are able to blaze the violet fire through these discordant rings of your own creation, and by building a tube of light substance from our octave around your physical form, like a wall of steel, you are able to keep out the unwanted thoughts from other people throughout the planet, thoughts of hate and sex and evil. You are able to keep it out, and it cannot touch your world. And you are able to blaze the violet fire up through these rings, which you have actually forged, and you melt them and return them to the eternal substance, and then you are free from that burden, and you can walk in dignity. God intends that man shall walk in dignity. This activity is a service of light. This activity, as many other activities throughout the ages, is a service of the great white brotherhood to mankind, offered to mankind in order that men may arise from beds of pain and spheres of limitation and escape into the realms of light and peace and harmony. This is a reality. This is not human nonsense. Blessed ones, as I started to speak to you, an action took place, of which I shall now tell you. I wanted to wait until this had solidified. When I begun to speak to you, I laid a great canopy of light. This canopy of light was a sphere, or a half a sphere, rather. It was shaped just like a great baseball or a globe of the world. And then as if you sliced it in half, only it was made of great light substance. It was crystalline in color and sparkling like a diamond, and large enough to completely cover and canopy this room. I placed it over you all this day in this room. And then, as I have been speaking to you, I have directed tangible rays of electronic substance through your physical form, through your mind, through your body, and I shall produce in the name of God, your own I am presence, a blessing which you shall carry as long as you shall live. Now the use of this blessing is entirely dependent upon the way in which you walk. If you walk unwisely, the blessing, like a seed that does not sprout, shall remain awaiting manifestation. If you shall attempt to face the light, to use the violet fire, to walk in this pathway with faith, to accept the blessings you have received, to determine to bring about the changes in your world, which we have done, which all the ascended beings have done in the past when they walked in physical form, then this blessing shall expand, and it shall bear fruit, assisting you mightily in your aims and goals of a spiritual nature. This blessing is not intended to be dissipated upon your own passions, upon your own foolishness, upon human thought. It is a sacred gift, and I qualify it so in the name of God, the mighty I am presence. Beloved ones, I would like now to try to give you a consciousness of the vast network of divinity present upon this planet. This hour, as I am speaking to you, countless churches of Christianity, synagogues of Judaism, mosques, vihars, and temples of Islam, temples of Buddhism, and places of worship throughout the planet are pouring out adorations, just as you are sitting here. Individuals are sitting there, gathered together and assembled to honor the presence of God. Many of them are thinking at this moment of when they may escape from those doors and return to a happier world. Blessed ones, they do not understand the purposes of religion. They but pay a respect they feel is due to a God, because it is the custom to do so. But among these people, there are countless numbers who have great adoration. Many of them do not have the opportunity of hearing me or of hearing others of the ascended host speak through human instruments, nor will some of them ever have that opportunity which you have. But among them there is a great wave of adoration which goes up toward the Godhead. It pours up just like beautiful streamers of light. And if you were able, in an airplane or a helicopter, to be over these temples with spiritual vision, you would see tangible rays like searchlights probing the sky and the firmament of heaven. Now, blessed ones, this is energy. This is divine energy, drawn forth first from God, qualified in the sacred fire within their hearts with love, and beamed up to God just as you do. This energy is beautiful. It is lovely. It is holy. It is pure. It does not matter that they have erred. In the giving and the offering of this energy to God, they have given of eternal substance and love to their Creator. If you would be endowed with greater power to do so, think at times in your meditation of these people. Think of these places of worship. Do not confine yourself to these four walls, beautiful though they be, nor to the people who sit among you, but confine yourself to nothing except the light, and realize that light is everywhere. That light is connecting the hearts of all the people of the planet, that light is connecting the hearts of the ascended masters with the people upon this planet, that light is the dispenser of every good and perfect gift to mankind. Those of you who are able to see me today will note that I am wearing my sacred jewels. You will note the great blue light that pours from my solar plexus and radiates in the name of God. The will of God, the love of God, the light of God, the strength of God, the beauty of God, the peace of God, and the heartbeat of God. You will note that the heartbeat of God is the beat of pure love. You will note that it is reality. You will note by the feeling within your heart that you do not have these feelings in many of the places you go, because you are not being visited by a being from on high. When Mary stood before beloved Gabriel, and he said to her, "Hail Mary, the Lord is with thee, and with thy spirit. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb." It was the word of an angel, and she knew that the word was not the word of man. Those of you who have open hearts and faith today will know that I am a very real being, that I am speaking directly to your heart. And I am speaking also to those others in these other places throughout the planet who are assembled together to worship God. They too are sheep of his fold. They too belong to him. And when the great power of expanded vision is produced among mankind, they will see the great connections beaming from city to city. The plains on South America and the mountain heights shall all be linked, and North America and the world, by a great spiritual cable, a canopy of light over all the nations and the world. And Freedom's star will be a bright star in the solar system and this system of worlds. And forgotten then will be the wars, the discord, and the inharmonies that for so long have held the race bound to a past history full of ignominy. Children of the light, children of the light, children of the light, your divine director embraces you. I am is the dazzling power of God. I am is the glory of God. I am is the power of God. You all can speak and declare in the name of your own I am presence, the name of God who declared to Moses, I am that I am, in the Egyptian Nukpa-Nuk. You can declare, I am, because by the power of God you are endowed with consciousness. And it is this consciousness of God which enables you to have a personal consciousness and to know that you are, that you have being and Venus and substance and form. By it you declare, I am. Therefore I say, when you say I am, no longer accept the limitation, the discord that mankind have put upon their back and formed these great rings and misqualified light. Beloved ones, when you stand in my radiation, it is so easy for you to make resolves. It is so easy for you to say, beloved great divine director, I appreciate and I feel your love and your light, and I will make a change in my world. I will keep this attunement. I will hold it. Beloved ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry to tell you that many of you are scarce escaped from this room in past times, but what some discord has revolved itself around in your mind, or some problem. Ladies and gentlemen, human consciousness and the revolving of a personal problem around in your mind can never produce the solution to that problem. Only by the ascended Master's light, called forth consciously into the shadow and the shadowed substance in your own worlds, can you be free? And oh, how God would love to see this planet completely free. God has never conceived of it any other way. It is this human consciousness which has held that concept. And therefore, in a way, you hold a portion of divinity imprisoned, enchained by your misuse of life's energy. Free these electrons, free these atoms, free this energy, give it its freedom, and enter into your own. When the captive goes free, you find that you are the captive, and that you are. I smile upon you in benediction. I bless you from Darjeeling. Beloved Moria blesses you. Your beloved Jesus blesses you. Your beloved Saint Germain blesses you. The light is your portion and your inheritance. This is the manna that comes down in the desert. And by eating this substance in remembrance of your eternal God principle, you enter into a communion with our octave. And you hold the communion as long as you remember. It is only when you forget that the link is broken. And when the link is broken, it must be reconnected. Ladies and gentlemen, if you disconnect the power from a lamp in this room or a bulb from its source, the light goes out. You must reconnect. It is that simple. But blessed ones, to keep an eternal attunement with our octave, you must always remember that you belong to us, that you belong to the flame within your heart. You must recognize that this portion, this dispensation, which is your gift from God, is precious, is an aim, and is a goal. You must recognize it is greater than any material accomplishment. And you must recognize it as a key to the greatest accomplishment upon earth. Countless great musicians, countless great artists, countless great professional people throughout the earth have, through drawing upon God, been enabled to do and to be truly great. All greatness comes from your I am presence, and you are all great. And so, as you have called me in your charity and kindness of heart, the great divine director, so I call you great today. And I call the creation of God great. I see the sea of faces of all humanity. I see the varying colors of the physical form. I see the different patterns in the mind. I see the various states of health and disease. And all is suddenly ablaze with God's light. And I see this light as the one catharsis, the one divine remedy for all ills. I see it as the Creator. And therefore, when I came this day, I said, "Hail light!" During the Thanksgiving season, I hope that many of you shall give thanks for light. I hope you shall realize that all religion is to adore the light, that all that produces unhappiness and unhappy feelings in your world is shadow. I hope that you will gain a sense of the meaning of love, that at this coming Christmas season you may act as great transformers of our energy. That those of you who know how to handle eternal substance will focus in your hearts this Christmas season at least 1,000 times as much divine energy as you have ever focused there in past Christmases. And I hope the Christmas tide shall be a flood tide that shall sweep across the world and carry with it all the human debris of hate and war and delusion and pain. The golden age which you await shall become a reality. You are awaiting the manifestation of the 1960s. Ladies and gentlemen, you are that wave of manifestation for this planet. I thank you.